this project is our beautiful, colourful chameleon. Now this project is loosely based on an Eric Carle book that is called The Mixed-Up Chameleon. So you might want to have a little read of that before you start your picture. Now we're going to go back to the very beginning. We're going to learn how to do this project step by step. And what we're going to do is I'm going to draw this with a permanent marker, but I would suggest that you guys actually draw this with a pencil first. So what we're going to do, we're going to start over on the right hand side of your paper. Now I'm working on A3 paper, but you can work on whatever size paper you have. It doesn't have to be white paper. If you don't have white paper, it can be anything. It can be the back of a cereal box. So we're going to start down at the front of our chameleon's head. Now they've got quite odd shaped heads, so we're going to start with a little bit of a very, very faint S line there. We're going to come around for his nose. They've got a bit of a bump at the top of their head, and what's almost like a bit of a horn on top of their head. So from there we're going to come down and do the bottom of their head. Now under his mouth, he's actually got a bit of a, almost like a little bit of a beard that comes under their mouth. And they have really, really big eyes. So we're going to do one circle. We're going to put our little reflection point in there. And then we're going to do another little circle around the outside. From his little horn on his head, we're going to come down a little bit. And we're going to create a little bit of a spiky back. Now you can see I'm stopping around about where I stopped the bottom of the chin. Now that's because I now need to do his legs, because our little chameleon is going to be holding onto a branch. So his front leg is quite small, and we're going to do, we'll call a little elbow joint here, and we've got like a little, it's almost like a little thumb or a little claw at the back, and then we're going to curve around to hold onto the branch. With our back leg, it's a little bit bigger. And we're going to make the claw again curve around, a little bit on the other side, and come back up. Now what we have to do is to create a branch. So we're going to come from right on the side of our paper, come down until it meets that little back claw, skip over the foot, do the same on the other side, go over until it meets that little claw, and then you can actually pretend it's going through the chameleon, skip over to the other side, put the other side of the branch on. You can make the branch fork into two branches if you want, or you could have just one, and then you're just going to come back and do the bottom side of your branch. So again, coming back to where the claw is, skip over, and then back to the edge of your paper. So you can now see your little chameleon is holding onto a branch. But we are missing our chameleon's tail. Now chameleons have these great curly tails. So we're going to imagine that the back of the chameleon is going through that branch. And we're going to start on the other side. And chameleons' tails come around in a spiral. So when you get to the end of the spiral, you need to curve around and go back the way you came. Once it gets back towards the chameleon, you're going to curve and make that line a little bit wider to make it go back towards the body. Okay, that is our basic chameleon. Now again, I've done this in permanent marker. You guys can try straight with permanent marker if you want. Does not matter if your chameleon does not look exactly like mine. So every chameleon is different, and every chameleon has got its own little personality. So the way yours looks is absolutely perfect. Now we are going to look at some colour next for your chameleon. So with our chameleons, you could choose. So you could use analogous colours, which means colours that are next to each other on the colour wheel. You could use complementary colours, which means that they are opposite each other on the colour wheel. Or you could choose to use something like rainbow colours. So what I do want to show you just quickly before you start your colour is how to blend. So my 3 colours here I've done with oil pastels, but you could also use something like twistable crayons, will work just as well. Now I've got 2 examples up here. The top one is not blended. These are just stripes of colour, so the colour is sitting next to each other in stripes. This one down the bottom, the colours are blending in together. So the way that we can do that, so if we want to do it really simply with crayons, we're going to start with our red. I'm going to do a stripe of red, but then when we get to the end of the stripe, we're going to push a little bit lighter on our crayon so that we get a light section of red as well. And then when we come to use our next colour, rather than starting where the red finished, we're going to go back and we're going to start where I started to do the light red. And over the top of that, I'm going to come a nice dark orange, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go nice and dark orange, and then I'm going to start doing a lighter orange, so I'm not pushing so hard with my crayon. So that when I do my yellow, again, I'm not going to start where my orange finished. I'm going to go back into the light section, and I'm going to go over the top. And that way you get this beautiful blended colour. Choice of colour is absolutely up to you. What I will show you is this one here. So this one was done following our rainbow colours. And then obviously also we need to go into our branch and add some branch colours. Then if you would like to, you could add a simple pattern into your background. Can be just be some simple shapes. Again, this is using whatever you've got available. So oil pastels are great, but if you don't have them, twistable crayons work just as well. And then this background was done with inks, but you could colour this with whatever you have available as well. If you've got some acrylic paint, you could water it right down. If you have some food dye in the cupboard, you could add some food dye to some water and you could create your own inks that way. Okay, enjoy the chameleon project.